Yet another sale, you guys. So on the 14th, the Sephora sale is starting. We all know about that, and I have some videos coming up. But you know what else is coming up? The Rephr sale is coming up. The site is closed right now, but it will reopen on the 14th. I'm not sure if it'll be really the 13th at, 11:59, but on the 14th, and it's 40% off brushes and skincare. So I've done 3 videos on Rephr, and I will link them down below, and I'll link one right here. And most of those I think I did right after I got the brushes, so I haven't had time to use them. And I thought it would be very helpful to you to see the brushes that I'm actually using on a consistent basis, or the brushes that I'm using because they have a very specific purpose, and I don't have any brushes that do that purpose. Skincare is included in the sale, and they got into skincare I think around October, and I got both of these, and let me tell you, I use them all the time. So this one is the Rebalancing Essence, and if you had ever bought the Laneige Cream Skin because I recommended it, you could get this. I think the price is a little bit better. It seems like an exact dupe. It feels exactly the same if you've never tried the Laneige Cream Skin. What it is and what this is something that is both hydrating and moisturizing. So they call it an essence, but I'm just going to show you. Most essences are very watery and they just disappear immediately. This is watery, but there's something about it that has moisture in it as well. And when I say moisture, a slight emollient, where essences don't necessarily have slip because they absorb into the skin immediately. This has just a little something moisturizing about it, and it's a powerhouse. If you're like me and your skin is on the drier side, and certain times of year it's a little unbearable, you're going to find that adding this to your program is so little and yet so much. It really soothes my skin when it's feeling thirsty. When I put it on, it's like gulp, 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 gulp. My skin says, ah. I love it. And then they have the Gentle Cleanser. Looks like this. These are very handsome. These are some kind of metal. I have a dent on this one actually. I think I dropped it. But they're very handsome. And if you're into the black and white theme, these might deserve a position on your countertop, really. This has replaced my Elastin Gentle Cleanser. They seem, again, very, very similar. I used my Elastin for probably 2 years before I finally ran out, and I received this right before I ran out, but I really didn't see a difference. This just moved into the spot. It cleans your face very gently, but it removes everything. You don't need a full pump with this, especially if you've done an oil cleanse or a balm cleanse. You've done a first cleanse. This just cleans the skin, or use it in the morning. You can use it to take off your makeup, but you're probably going to want to do a little more, and I don't even do half a pump because it does lather quite a bit, and I don't want to rinse for 10 minutes. But I use this quite often. It's replaced my Elastin, and it's lovely. Both of those are 40% off, and they're already incredibly well priced. So I highly recommend you consider getting these. Now, I shot today's makeup look using these brushes, so as I speak about them, you can see the B-roll. But in the last couple of videos, I've been using them a lot. Why? Well, let's start with the face brush. The face brushes I've been using a lot all the time. The 3 that I find most useful in order of how we do our makeup is the number 36. The number 36 is dirty. I haven't washed it, but this goes straight, and this goes over like so. It's very similar in shape to the Hot and Flashy brush and this one that I've been using for a long time from Real Techniques. They all do that thing. But this is goat, and goat behaves differently than synthetic. Goat can do powder, and it can do creams, and it can do liquids. It can do it all. Most of the Rephr brushes are made from goat, except for like a lay-down brush, which is good for shimmers or glitters. White goat hair in particular is lovely because of a couple of things. One, you can see they're dirty, so you're not going to accidentally pick up a dark brush and go, oh, I have a color on this and I forgot to clean them. You can see, I've got something going on. I better not use this, or I better clean it, which is incredibly helpful. If you've done that before, you know what a blessing the white goat hair is. This is the natural state. Dark goat hair is colored, and let me see if I can find one. So here are a couple from Sonia G. These are goat that have been dyed. And dyed goat hairs are compromised. There's the integrity of the structure of these fibers are compromised when they are dyed. They become a little bit more fragile. They're handsome, but a little bit more fragile. Because goat hair is thicker and more coarse and more absorbent because it's a natural hair, it picks things up differently than something that is synthetic. Those are not coarse, they don't have any absorbing qualities because they're not real, if that makes sense to you. But when they're not, what is the word I'm looking for? Of course they're real. Let's just say natural for lack of a better word. They distribute fantastically. So this one I like to use for detail. So right around the eyebrows, right around the lips. I seem to always miss this area, and I like to blend out around here because too much right here when you get a little older, not great. If I want to do a little touching up, put a little bit of concealer right here, this is a great way to tap on. You know, first you sweep out and then tap on. It's a lovely brush that I do use often. Then we go to contour. This is the 04, and the 04 I think is a blush brush, but I've never gotten into blush brushes with this shape. However, I think it's fantastic for contour. It just fits this area on me perfectly. I don't like a line for contour. I want usually a triangle, so the triangle would be like this. And this brush really helps me to do that. You can kind of start this way, and it's moved down. You can turn it. I used it up here, and that's what this brush ended up being very useful to me for. And finally, I have the number 37, which if you watch my videos, you've probably seen me use this hundreds of times. I use this for liquid and powder. When I go on with my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, for instance, this is what I'm using. That is a cream bronzer. When you see me use the Say blush, for instance, I'm doing this. Oftentimes with my creams, instead of going zoop on my face, which I don't really like that, I'll put it on my hands and spread it out and pick it up with this brush, whether it's a liquid or not. Although you could do it differently. You could put your liquid dot and then blend out. Liquids can be tricky. I prefer hand application, but I use this all the time. Let's take a look at the eye brushes that I use the most. This is them. And I'm going to start in order in which I did my eye makeup today. And I use this one first. This is the Rephr 33, which looks a lot like the Westman Atelier. Almost the same size. This one is not as thin as this one. This is almost like a flat brush. But like this one, it fits right in here perfectly. And because it's goat, you can use it with dry, you can use it with wet. I did both for this video. So first I went in with this, just to set myself up. And then I went in with this. Now the Sisley eyeshadows are a little hard to pick up, and goat picks up something that's hard. Now if you watch my videos, if you watch all of my videos in the past week and a half, you have seen me pull the Rephr brushes out very specifically because goat picks up better. So if you have something that's deeply pigmented and all you need is a boop like that, you could probably use a synthetic brush. And I know that you can use my squirrel brushes, but when you have something like this is the Sisley, it's a little hard to pick up. And this picks it up perfectly. And so I turned it on the side. You can see there's a little bit of an arrow shape. Perfect if you are hooded. to just get that area. But then you can turn it around this way and kind of stamp and really perfect everything out. I use this a lot, and I oftentimes get confused. Did I pick up the Westman Atelier or did I pick up the Rephr? The 01 is an all-round brush, kind of like the MAC. What is the old famous MAC? I can't remember. 217, 216? Kind of like that, except for MAC is only synthetic now. And great for blending out so you have a diffused edge. Lovely. You can lay down with a brush like this as well, and I have many times. This one I don't use as much, but you know what it's perfect for? It's the number 36, and it's a weird shape. I think you're supposed to use it for contour, but it's too sharp. But for me, because I am deeply hooded, so I have an orbital bone, but you can't see it, I go in with this with a contour color or a brown color and just kind of hit this area, and it hits it perfectly and diffuses it perfectly, so you don't see a hard line. In fact, I think it's really not discernible. You can't really see what's going on, but if you look eye to eye, if I'm able to show that footage, you can see suddenly this eye doesn't look as hooded, as puffy. The hood doesn't look as big and bright. And that's what this one is really good for. The number 13, really small, and it's not too long, so it doesn't flex too much. Perfect for, I just want to do a little outer corner, but I want to have control over it. I want to compare this to this brush, which is kind of similar, but it's much fuller. And this is a Sonia G. So this one's a bit taller in the fibers and a bit fuller. This one is smaller. Again, small eyes, hooded eyes, smaller brushes really help you get it down right first instead of blending or going in with some concealer. And finally, these brushes, they're all pencil brushes and they are all different sizes. When I did the Surratt video, I used, I think, this one to blend out the eye brightener stick. It's a beige color stick you put in here, but it felt very stiff, and I wanted to blend it so it didn't look so hard. It didn't look like a hat liner, it just looked natural. And this is the 03 brush. I also used it today, the same shadow. This is pretty much, once I went into powder, the same shadow, but it doesn't look like it because I used different brushes and applied it in different ways. And that's kind of the beauty of the brushes and of this particular shadow. But I did some lining with this, and I even did some underneath. And then I went in with this bigger brush, and this is the 26, and I just went back and forth and hazed that out a little bit so it's not a hard line. You could use these with creams. I'm almost done, so we're not going to wait for the blower. You could use them with liquids, you can use them with powders, any variety of way. And this smallest one, I've used this before too, but very specifically. But like I said, some of these brushes are brushes I don't use every day, but when I need them, they're the only thing that will do. They're absolutely fabulous tools. Okay, I think it's done. So let's just run over everything. This is the 33. And this is the one that reminds me very much of the Westman Atelier. The 3 pencil brushes. The largest pencil brush is 26, the medium is 03, and the smallest is 23. Your basic blender, you can apply with this, you can blend out with this. When I first got back into makeup, it was the 217 that I used for everything. And after about 8 months, I thought, I need to up my game a little bit. But you can. If you're in a bind, you're going away, you don't want to take 14 brushes, but you do have one powder you're taking with you, it's a great brush that can do it all. The number 13 is the detail brush that I use like this for very specific work, mainly for me usually right here. And also, should be noted that these 2 brushes, as well as for liner, you can do inner corner highlight with either of them. And then 35, and 35 is the one that just has a very specific use for me. And I don't actually use it that often, but when I used it again today, I thought it kind of does the trick. If I'm doing a very easy makeup, but easy makeup shouldn't mean not very good makeup, you know what I mean? I still want to look pretty, but I don't want to do a lot. I can just go in with a bronzer or go in with a contour color and do something to my eyes. If my eyes are looking watery because I'm having a little coughing fit, 37 is the blush brush that I use for liquid and cream. 36 is for finishing around the face, really making sure that you are covered everywhere, because it's so articulate around the lips, here, and under eyes. And the 04, again, I don't do contour that often, but for me, this is for cream contour. For me, not powder, but for you, it could be. But I don't like it for a blush. And that's going to wrap it up, you guys. I am not going to beat. I thought he was done, but he's not. Thank you so much for watching. I will have links down below for every single brush, and I will have the landing page as well. Happy shopping. Save 40%. Starts on the 14th. See you at the next one.